Welcome. Today, I'm here with another story for you.
In ancient Persia, King Sam, ruler of the land, had a wife named Kamush. One day, she gave birth to a child, but this was no ordinary baby. When the child was born, his hair was completely white, like snow. The king, startled by the unusual sight, saw it as an omen and decided to abandon the child. He ordered that the baby be left in the mountains to die. King Sam, afraid of the curse he believed the child represented, gave the order to leave Zal in the wild. He ordered his servants to take the child into the high mountains of Persia, far away from civilization. The baby's cries echoed, but no one heard. The servants, unwilling to kill an innocent child, left him and returned to the palace. Spitz-die baby, abandoned but not forgotten by fate, was found by the Simurgh, a mythical, divine bird. The Simurgh took Zal in her claws and carried him to her nest in the mountains. There, she cared for him, fed him, and taught him wisdom and strength. She told him that he was destined for greatness. Years passed, and Zal grew up in the Simurgh's nest, learning the ways of the world from the wise bird. He became strong, intelligent, and skilled in the arts of combat, yet still longed to know the truth about his parents and his destiny. The Simurgh shared with him the secrets of the world, preparing him for the challenges he would face as an adult. After years of being raised by the Simurgh, Zal, now a grown and powerful man, was ready to return to the world. The Simurgh gave him advice in a piece of her feather, telling him that when the time was right, he should present the feather to his father. Zal journeyed back to the palace, unsure of what he would find. When Zal arrived at the palace, King Sam did not recognize him at first. But when Zal presented the feather from the Simurgh, the king realized that his son had returned. Overcome with remorse, Sam welcomed Zal back with open arms. Zal's wisdom, strength, and courage soon became known across the land, and he grew to be one of the greatest heroes in Persian history.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Last, everybody else in this tale is going to get an epic mythological sounding name. But this guy's name was Sam. Anyway, King Sam longed for air up a tower. Really, come on. They spend the night together and decide that they should wed. But Rudaba's father is from the line of Zahak, the Demon King, and the dude from the last episode. So, Sam is totally going to oppose the marriage. Zal writes his father begging for consent. And in anguish, Sam finally decides to atone for his former sins by allowing his son this marriage, despite his misgivings. But now it's Rudaba's father who's not yet convinced. So he says Zal must face two tests, one physical and one mental. The physical test Zal passes with great ease, taking on 3 of the Lord's warriors at once, without even breaking a sweat, and tossing a javelin with such force that it passes through not 1, but 3 shields. However, he was a mountain child. Could he pass the test of wits? 6 sages came to try him. The first one of them said, "There are 12 flourishing, splendid cypress trees, each of which has 30 branches. The second said, "There are 2 fine, swiftly galloping horses, one black as a sea of pitch, the other white as clear crystal. They struggle and strive, but neither can overtake the other." The third said, "There is a group of riders who pass by the prince, and sometimes there are 30 of them when you look, sometimes 29. One is not there, and then you count again, and there are 30. The fourth said, "You see a beautiful meadow filled with green plants and threaded with streams. A man comes there holding a huge scythe, and he cuts down the plants, whether they're fresh or dry, never swerving aside as he does so." The fifth said, "There are 2 cypresses rising from the ocean, and a bird has built nests there. He sits on one at night and the other during the day. When he flies up from the one, its leaves wither and dry,
and when he sits on the other, it exhales the scent of musk. One is always withered, and the other always fresh and fragrant.
And the sixth and last one said, "Oh, hey man, in the mountains I discovered a flourishing city, but the people left it, preferring a thorny waste, where they built houses towering up to the moon. You know how it is. They forgot the flourishing city and never mentioned it. Then an earthquake came, and their houses disappeared, and they longed for the city that they had left. Now explain these sayings to us. If you can do so, you'll be turning dust to musk." Zal sat deep in thought, and then said, "First, the 12 tall trees, each of which has 30 branches, are the 12 months of the year. 12 times the moon is renewed in her place, like a new king, seated on his throne, and each month has 30 days. This is how time passes. As for the 2 horses who gallop swiftly as fire, the white and the black, striving to overtake one another, they are night and day, which pass over us across the heavens. Third, the 30 horsemen you spoke of who pass before the prince, one of whom vanishes and then appears again. These signify the fact that in some months one night is sometimes lacking. Now as for the bird, the 2 cypresses are the 2 halves of the heavens, of which one half is always withered and one fresh. The bird is the sun, the city in the mountains is the eternal world, and the thorny waste is the fleeting world, which gives us now riches and now pain and suffering. Which means the man with the sharp scythe, who cuts down both fresh and withered plants, and who listens to no entreaties, is Time the Reaper. And we are like the plants that are cut down, grandfather and grandchild alike, since he looks at neither young nor old, but cuts down all in his path. This is the way of the world, and no man is born from his mother, but to die." They were all astounded by his wisdom, for he was exactly right, and so the 2 were allowed to marry. The ceremony was grand and joyous, and it wouldn't be long before their son, the famous Rustom, would be born. And those feathers that Simor gave Zal would become pretty.
Once upon a time, in the vast kingdom of Persia, there lived a mighty warrior named Rustom. He was renowned throughout the land for his unmatched strength, courage, and loyalty. Rustom had fought many battles and had become a legendary figure in the annals of Persian history. However, fate had a tragic twist in store for him. Unknown to Rustom, during one of his journeys, he had crossed paths with a beautiful and noble woman named Tamina. Fate had brought them together, and their encounter resulted in a son, whom Tamina named Sohrab. Tamina raised Sohrab with love and care, instilling in him the virtues of honor, bravery, and chivalry. As Sohrab grew older, his mother shared stories of his great father, Rustom, with him. Sohrab became determined to meet his father, longing for the chance to see the mighty warrior whom he admired and respected so deeply. Driven by his desire to unite with his father, Sohrab embarked on a treacherous journey, leaving behind his mother and his homeland. Meanwhile, Rustom, unaware of his son's existence, continued his heroic endeavors on the battlefield. News of a skilled and formidable warrior named Sohrab began to spread, reaching Rustom's ears. Little did Rustom know that the warrior everyone spoke of was his own flesh and blood. The fateful day arrived when Rustom and Sohrab found themselves on opposing sides of a battlefield. Sohrab, unaware that his adversary was his father, challenged Rustom to single combat, hoping to prove his worth and meet the legendary warrior he had admired from afar. The 2 warriors engaged in an epic duel, their swords clashing, echoing through the valley. Each strike was filled with the strength and skill inherited from Rustom. However, as the battle intensified, Rustom's heart began to ache, sensing an unexplainable connection to his opponent. As their swords clashed once more, Rustom's blade found its mark, piercing through Sohrab's armor and ending his young life. Rustom's victory was bittersweet as he realized the truth too late, that he had unknowingly taken the life of his own beloved son. A wave of grief engulfed Rustom as he cradled Sohrab's lifeless body in his arms. The realization of what he had done filled him with immense sorrow and regret. Rustom's mighty heart, once known for its unwavering strength, now shattered into a million pieces. From that day forward, Rustom's life was forever changed. The once indomitable warrior became haunted by his actions, consumed by guilt and remorse. He carried the weight of his tragic mistake until the end of his days, a constant reminder of the heartbreaking price he paid for his ignorance.
अचीवमेंट्स रहे हैं उनका इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में, क्या रोल रहा है, बॉक्स में दिया हुआ। तो शुरू करते हैं। देखिए मैडम भीकाजी फार्मा का जन्म 24 सितंबर 1861 में हुआ था बॉम्बे में, और जो इनकी मृत्यु हुई थी वो हुई थी 13 अगस्त 1936 को। कि ये बहुत सारी चीजों के लिए फेमस हैं, जैसे फ्लैग ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस जिन्होंने स्टटगर्ट जर्मनी में सेकंड सोशलिस्ट कॉन्फ्रेंस के दौरान लहराया था। तो ये सब चीजों को हम देखेंगे फ्रेंड्स आगे आने वाले इस वीडियो में, सब कुछ डिटेल में इनके बारे में देखेंगे। तो इनका जन्म बॉम्बे में हुआ था, जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया, ये गुजराती पारसी फैमिली में इनका जन्म हुआ था। इनके पिताजी का नाम था सोराबजी फ्रामजी पटेल, और जयजी बाई इनकी माता जी का नाम था। इनके फादर एक मर्चेंट थे और बहुत प्रोमिनेंट और एफ्लुएंट मेंबर थे पारसी कम्युनिटी के। इनके जो पेरेंट्स थे वो बहुत फेमस कपल था, बहुत ही रिच कपल। फिर हुआ ये कि 3 अगस्त 1885 को इनकी शादी कर दी गई। अब देखिए 1861 में इनका जन्म हुआ था, 1885 में शादी, 24 साल में इनकी शादी हुई, और इनकी शादी हुई रुस्तम कामा से। ठीक है, अब ये रुस्तम कामा जी जो थे लॉयर थे, और ये प्रो ब्रिटिश लॉयर थे, यानी कि ब्रिटिशर्स का सपोर्ट करते थे पॉलिटिकली। ठीक है, ये जो रुस्तम जी थे ये बेटे थे खार शेख जी रुस्तम कामा के। ये जो खार शेख जी रुस्तम गई तो इंग्लैंड में एक अलग ही माहौल था फ्रेंड्स। ठीक है, वहां पे वो बहुत सारे लीडर्स के टच में आई, जैसे श्याम कृष्ण वर्मा, दादा भाई नेहरूजी, सिंह रेवा भाई राणा। तो इसको मैं थोड़ा सा आपको स्पेशली एक्सप्लेन कर चुका। देखिए एक इंडिया हाउस करके एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हुआ करता था वहां पे, इंडिया हाउस था लंदन में, जिसको श्याम जी कृष्ण वर्मा ने फाउंड किया था। लेट हो गया तो टाइमिंग मिसमैच की वजह से जब सावरकर जी वहां पहुंचे तो उनको वहां पे कोई मिला नहीं कलेक्ट करने के लिए, इसलिए वो फिर से उनको ब्रिटिशर्स ने अरेस्ट कर लिया। तो मैडम भीकाजी कामा ने उसके लिए भी मना कर दिया। मैडम भीकाजी कामा की खास बात थी वुमेन सिक्योरिटी की, वुमेन जेंडर इक्वालिटी की बहुत बड़ी सपोर्टर थी। उनका ये मानना था कि जब ये देश आज़ाद हो जाएगा उसके बाद वुमेन को वो सारे राइट्स मिलेंगे जो आज की डेट में मैन को मिले हुए हैं। ठीक है, फिर एक और इनकी बहुत बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट वो है कि फ्लैग ऑफ इंडिया, यहाँ पे कमल का निशान बना हुआ है। तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इवेंट है हिस्ट्री का फ्रेंड्स। ठीक है, तो इसी फ्लैग को इंदुलाल याग्निक ने ब्रिटिश इंडिया में ना हो जाए, आपका दिमाग पूरी तरीके से यहाँ पे फोकस होना चाहिए। 2-3